All right. Well, welcome everybody. And it's really a pleasure to be here today and hear about your UT experiences. And I know all of you are first generation students, and by being the first in your families to go to college, you've blazed a trail and created a pathway to success, not just for you, but also for future generations. And I find that both inspiring and amazing. And your journeys, I know, reflect your talents, your brilliance, and your persistence. So congratulations on getting to this point, and we're excited to see what you do next. Our university's commitment to first generation students is very deep, and in many years, especially recently, we've been working tirelessly to create more opportunities and support and mentorship for first gen students. And the results, I think, have been outstanding. We've finally reached our long-standing goal of 70% as a four-year graduation rate this year. And really improvements in first generation student graduation rates have largely led to the success. And the class of 2024 has the highest percentage of first generation students in our history at 25.5%, which I think speaks to UT's commitment to serving the best and brightest students across all backgrounds and life experiences in Texas. And your inspiring stories are the reason why I am excited about going to work every day on behalf of our great university. And you really make this place a university of the first class. But that's enough for me. Today is really more of a chance to hear about you. So with that, I'll turn it around over and let you all introduce yourselves and say a few things. So Lawrence, do you mind kicking it off?
Yes, my name is Lawrence Robinson. I'm a public health major. I am minoring in entrepreneurship. My dream passionate job I want to go into is being a community health worker as well as being rooted in the field of public health.
Great, thank you. Who's next? Suzette, you want to go?
Yes, I'll go. Hi, everybody. My name's Suzette. I use she, her pronouns. I am currently a third year English, government, and ALD major, so that's in education. And I am from the Rio Grande Valley, and my dream job is to become a teacher and then hopefully write educational policy.
Great. Marissa, you want to go next?
Yeah, my name is Marissa. I'm a senior corporate communication major from College Station, Texas, and I'm going to be working in my dream job, which is doing marketing and tech.
Great, thanks. And not last but not least, Matt.
My name is Matt. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a second year geology journalism major from San Antonio, and my dream job is to be a National Geographic explorer.
Great, thanks, Matt. And clearly we're all working to try to get more students to think about joining us for college. And so maybe I thought you all could take us back to what led you to UT. So somebody can talk about what drew you here, what convinced you to come be a Longhorn and join us on the 40 acres. Who wants it?
I can go ahead and start. So for me, like growing up, my parents were big UT football fans. So we every year, every season, we always came to the home opener at least. So just growing up with that and always seeing that and always being at the university at least every year, it became just a goal for me to come. So, and of course, UT is one of the best schools in Texas. So it was a pretty easy decision to at least apply and see what happens. And then I ended up here. I just liked the environment, I love football. So it just worked out perfectly.
That's great. Anybody else want to, their story?
Go ahead. I didn't really learn about UT until like the end of my junior year when I was looking at pre-pharmacy programs. And so it just so happened UT was at the top. And so when I visited, took a look at the campus and I felt really at home. And I felt like this was a college that can really take care of me as well as like my education pursuit going into like pre-pharmacy. And now going to public health, I know the track has changed. I now want to go into public health and not pre-pharmacy anymore. But I really felt like UT was a great place for me to grow, not only academically, but emotionally and like physically.
That's great. Yeah, one of the things I often pitch about the university is if you change your mind about what you want to study, odds are we have it, and odds are we're pretty good at it. So just like you talked about, Lawrence, finding your way from one field to another. What about you, Matt? What got you excited about coming to UT?
Yeah, actually, how you mentioned is that, if you want to study it, you can. And I often get, when I share my major, people say like, oh, what a weird combination, or like, what a weird mix. Um, and it was one of the main reasons why I came to UT, is that I was able to have, you know, an interdisciplinary study that you just don't really get at another university.
That's great. And you know, journalism and geology, two programs that we're also really, really good at. So that makes a ton of sense. So Seth, what about you?
What drew me to UT was Austin. I come from a relatively small town, so Austin was really like where I envisioned myself growing, especially because I wanted to go into a government job. So I was like, well, the capital is here, so everything is connected. But as I came to UT, I realized that there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of other jobs that are available at my disposal. So what has made me be happy at UT is the amount of opportunities and just opportunities of growth in general.
Oh, that's great. And just, you probably are aware, but you know, when I was in school here, there weren't the kinds of jobs in Austin there are now. So people all wanted to end up here, but it was harder to do so. And now with all the proliferation of opportunities and companies and nonprofits and everybody coming here, now you all can do these great things, both while you're in school, and then many of you will find ways to either come back or to stay. So talk about adjusting to UT. What's something that you found hard as an adjustment to come here? This can be an intimidating place. It's known as a big school. But can you speak to something that you realized in hindsight took some adjusting to, either as a first generation student or otherwise?
I'll start. So I'll start by prefacing, sorry, that I was like a big fish in a small pond. So I graduated at the top of my class. So when I came to UT, I thought that it would be a very easy transition, just because I needed more rigor back home. And I quickly realized that that was not the case. I experienced imposter syndrome. And for people that don't know, imposter syndrome is basically when you feel like you don't belong or you just don't deserve to be here. And I noticed how much it impacted me through different decisions that I made. So I lowered my hand when I knew the answers. I didn't ask questions. I just kind of shrunk myself and my presence within classrooms. And all of this like came to a climax when I failed my first exam at UT. And I remember crying and like calling my dad and apologizing to him because I was here for my family. And he reminded me that I was also here for myself. I came to UT to accomplish my goals and my dreams. And hearing that from my parents was a really important, it was just an important message from them, to realize that I was here to grow as much as I was here to grow for them and realize my dreams. So ever since then, I have taken those words and basically fuel them into everything that I do, whether it's my passions, my job prospects, any opportunities that are available to me. I just take it or try to apply for things, because I realize that there's only so much that I cannot do. So if I don't even try, then like the possibility is not there. So that's something that I had to learn.
Yeah, I hear you. I've often thought I rarely regret things I tried. I often regret things I didn't have the guts to try. Right. So yeah, it makes sense. Who else wants to talk about a challenge or an adjustment coming?
I can. I was certainly in a similar boat to Suzette with imposter syndrome. I think that was one of the big challenges I faced as a freshman, because there's just so many different kinds of people here at UT, and you want to compare yourself to all of them. And, you know, that's not like a great thing to do, because everyone has a unique background and a unique experience. And just because, you know, your classmate has done this internship or had this job or had this position, does not mean you're just as good as them, or you don't have the same opportunities and the same skills. So I think like learning to focus more on myself and learning that everyone is on their own path and has their own experience. And that's the way to move forward, is by, you know, focusing on yourself. So
That's a great lesson. Thank you, Matt. Anybody else want to go before I can go into the next if you'd like? What about times when you started to feel at home? So are there examples you can think of where you started to realize, you know, I belong here. This is my home, or this is a place where I'm comfortable. Marissa, does anything come to mind, or Lawrence, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can go ahead. I think one time, or like I guess when I started to feel more comfortable was when I finally started joining student orgs. Because I'm from College Station, so I came, like everyone went to A&M or Blinn, so I came in not knowing anyone. And I think it wasn't until my second semester of freshman year where I actually started to find my place on campus. And for me, that was in the Multicultural Engagement Center, in one of those organizations that they have in there. And so just finding a place that was actually like a physical space on top of like an organization that I could go to and have meetings with. And like in the MEC, they also have faculty members that are assigned to different organizations and are there for us all the time. So that was a really pivotal moment for me, was when I actually found that space and actually got to see other students who not only looked like me, but had similar experiences coming into UT. Just like having the MEC to go to every single day. I've spent like an embarrassingly long amount of time in the MEC, but yeah, that was just one space that I felt like super comfortable. I could study in there, I can hang out with my friends in there, I could just do absolutely everything I needed to do all in there. So that was a really unique space for me to find and be in.
That's great, thank you. Lawrence?
Yes. I actually felt very comfortable my first night of moving. During one of the Jester like West game nights, I met literally like 12 of my best friends there. Um, it was awkward, of course, you know, we all had just moved in, we're all freshmen, and, you know, we're just like, you know, talking about high school, you know, all of us with different majors. And literally in the next 2 weeks, we literally spent the majority of time together. We went kayaking on Lady Bird Lake, we explored Austin, we went to Graffiti Park, and really just explored campus and whatever Austin had to offer. So I know a lot of people might not get that same adjustment that quick on campus, but it is possible. And really what took me the most for me to adjust to is like get out of my shell and start really being shy, like I was in high school. And so with that, it really helped me gain those like 12 best friends. We're still very close today. We would go to like football games together, as well as just like hang out all the time and study. But it is possible to be comfortable here at UT. It might take some time or adjusting to it, but it is possible.
Yeah, listening to y'all, tying that couple of questions and themes together, it's finding your own person, your own place, right? Being comfortable with yourself, and then also getting involved and getting to know others, right? I think, you know, both these stories are ones where I think a lot, you know, we have as a university so many ways to get engaged. It can be overwhelming. And so just finding some, whether it's going kayaking with friends or finding a physical home with other students of shared passions and backgrounds to hang out with, I think that's great. What about advice? And now you're getting old enough that people ask you advice. And so if you could go back and tell your high school senior or junior self something, what would you tell yourself then that you know now? I can cold call. Suzanne, you go first.
I can go. So similar to what Matt said, I really believe in not comparing your journey with the journey of your peers at UT or anybody else for that matter of fact. As a first-gen student, you're trying to navigate an institution that was not initially built for you. So that can be very intimidating and it can be very scary to find your way at UT and anywhere for that matter of fact. But even as a student right now, I'm still finding my community on campus and I'm still finding ways where I can envision myself. So your journey is a lifelong process and people are still trying to figure out what they want to do, where they want to go, what part of community they want to build. So a journey takes time and people's journeys should not be compared with one another. If anything, you can learn from other people and ask questions and reach out to faculty, staff, and hone into your support system at UT or back home, because those are the people that are going to be rooting for you wherever you are and wherever you want to go. So.
Well said. I also like the way you're thinking about it as a journey, not just a destination, right? It is a process, and we're all there, right? I'm not where I thought I was going to be back in March. So I get it. Who else wants to talk about?
I can also go.
Please.
I would say something similar. Like just don't come in comparing yourselves because everybody came in, or at least everybody else came in, top of their class, but I went through holistic review. So I didn't find out about my decision until like March, which a lot of my friends around me weren't in the same boat. They were all automatic acceptance. So that for me was like a big shock. Like, oh, I'm one of the few that actually got in through holistic review. So maybe like they made a mistake, maybe they pressed the wrong button. Like, I don't know what happened, but I think as the years went by, like I'm a senior now, I definitely don't feel that way anymore. Like I stopped comparing myself to others. I finally took in the fact that like this is my own journey and I'm at the place where I want to be at the time that I want to be at it. And everyone's on different paths. Everybody wants to do different things. So it's not fair to yourself to compare yourself to somebody who's in business when you want to go do law. Like that doesn't make any sense for you to do. And a lot of people tend to do it. So I would say like just focus on your own path, focus on your goals, and set out goals every semester, set clear goals that you can check off at the end of the semester. And then look back at and be like, okay, like I did this, now let's move on to next semester.
That's great. We took you for a reason and it's turned out well, right? And it's nice to hear and remember that, there are reasons everybody's here. And you may look at other people and think, how did I end up in this spot? But there's a story and there's a path and it's a journey, as you mentioned. Matt or Lawrence, either one of you want to chime in?
I can speak real quick. I just want to say, becoming a Longhorn and just going through my college journey, I've learned to be more okay with being uncomfortable and also asking for help. Especially in the first semester, I think a lot of freshmen are in that mindset of just like, oh, I was at the top of my class, I did all this, I was student body president, yada yada yada. And coming to college, they still have that same mindset, thinking they can take care of like everything and able to understand everything until they hit that first very barrier in class or at a test. And so it's kind of hard to ask questions, going to the office hours, ask a professor, like, I don't understand this, rather than just trying to discover it on your own. I know I went through it, my chemistry class and my bio classes, I still continue to go through it too, but now I've learned how to like, it's okay that I don't know this like equation, or I don't know like this whole concept map. I need to go to office hours and ask questions. I think that's something I would like to like say to like freshmen coming in now, especially first generation students, to just be okay with being uncomfortable, and it's okay to seek help when you need it.
Yeah, I used to say as a professor, I'm here for a reason. I actually like people. Please come see me. And I'm sitting in my office all bored in office hours, and it'd be nice if somebody would stop by and ask me a question. So I like your advice. Thanks a lot. Matt, anything you want to chime in?
Yeah, definitely. If I could go back to high school and talk to myself again, I would say not to limit myself. Like you said, like Lauren said, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're scared to apply to the internship, the worst they can say is no. Because if you shoot for the stars and you land in the clouds, like you're still flying. So just be ambitious and don't limit yourself.
That's great. Thank you. What makes you proud to be a first gen student? What part of that connects to your journey and your story that resonates with you?
I can take this one. I definitely think helping other first gen students and future college students really makes me proud to be first gen. The skills that I've developed here at UT, I've been able to help other people. I actually visited home last weekend, and I was at a football game and I saw a friend from high school, and she was actually asking me advice about applying to UT. So it's really exciting to get to talk to people about that and guide them on their journeys towards higher education.
Oh, that's great. Paying it forward. Thank you. Anybody else?
I can also go. So this summer I actually interned with Oracle as well. So what we did, we have a volunteer program, and we volunteered with virtually the YMCA program here in East Austin. And Mike presented on like budgeting and how different tips and stuff. And I mentioned that I go to UT, and a lot of them started asking questions after that. But I actually got to meet one-on-one with a girl who was a junior and considering applying to UT next year. And so we set up a one-on-one Zoom call to just ask for advice, like, what do you think about this? What is the culture like? So it's just really exciting to actually like see younger students in high school still considering, especially coming from East Austin. You know, they don't have the same amount of resources, so it was good for her to get a different aspect on UT rather than the ones that they just given the tours. She actually got to ask like some personal questions about orgs, and I got to connect her to a few more people that would be able to give her a little bit better insight. But it's just nice to be able to give it back and help people in that process.
Great, thank you.
I'll go next. Makes me proud to be first gen is that there is no path to follow. So I am building my own path, and like I can change my mind as much as I want, and nobody can really tell me anything because I'm following my passions. And as long as I get my grades, as long as I get a degree, I am here to do the thing. So yeah, making my own path and not having to follow somebody else's is what makes me proud to be first gen.
Thank you. Lawrence, anything we missed?
I was going to speak on what Suzette just said. I had a conversation with my family a few days ago. Family is so graciously helped me out with college, you know, discussed it and everything. And so I remember we were talking about like the first test I failed back in my freshman year. And so we were just saying, I remember calling home, I was like, I'm so sorry I didn't test, you know, I'll make y'all proud. And my dad, I literally, this is one of the hardest moments. It's just, I don't care as long as you don't fail out of college, you do you and do whatever you're passionate about, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure this is an experience that you want, that you feel passionate about, and making sure that you go into a career where it's just, you know, you love it, so that you don't have to work as much as we do and have a job that we hate. So it's just more of just like the journey of a first generation student is not just a journey of like student, it's a journey of a family, as well as just like, you know, not always having to always please your family, but also knowing, you know, that whatever you do it with passion and you pride, because at the end of the day, this is your journey, you made it, and that you're going to do well wherever you go after college, and your family's going to be proud of you no matter what.
That's great. Well, thank you all. I think we're about out of time, but I want to say thanks for all of you for sharing your stories and your insights. It's inspiring for me. Part of what I take away from you all, one is, reminding yourselves and each other that you're all here for a reason, right? It wasn't a mistake, and we knew what we were doing. Part of it is that find your own journey, find your own path. There's no real need to benchmark that against other people's paths or journeys or expectations that may have followed you from high school or from your family. It's really, I think maybe Lawrence said it, it's you be you, and find out your own passion. And then I think there's a piece around getting involved, getting engaged, finding a home within the campus, whether that's a friend group or a peer group or a student organization, some way to find that part of what we have. And then don't be afraid to ask one of us for help, or each other, right? We all want each other to succeed, and whatever that means for you. And so take advantage of the resources you have, whether that's people or opportunities or professors that you can ask things to. So I took a lot away from the day, and reminds me of why we're here as faculty, getting to teach students like you all. Makes me miss teaching as I'm sitting here in the president's office and miss the classroom. So thanks for your time today, and we look forward to the next chance we have to engage. And to everybody out there watching, we hope to see you on the 40 acres sometime soon. So thanks. Hook 'em.